Hi, sorry it's been a little while. I've been very busy with uni work and had a couple of breaks from computers over the last 2 weekends, but now I'm back to work on Lumbermill. So you might remember from the last video I finished off the trading house interface functionality. What I didn't finish or even start was the company logos for the different companies that send you trade offers. So, as with most of my designs, it started on paper. Based on suggestions I got from the Discord and a few ideas of my own, I started sketching out some logo ideas. The final companies I decided on were Itria, Fine Pine, Carpentry, Walnut Mart, Maples Tables, and of course, Son of Birch. I started with Itria as that seemed the simplest of the lot, and thought I'd try it out as vector art. Once I got that design into the game though, it just didn't look right to me. Neither the colours nor the smooth lines of the logo fit with the game's aesthetic, so I went back to the drawing board. Already a bit tired of the Itria logo, I started with the next simplest logo, Son of Birch. And once that was in the game, it looked way better. The more traditional design, paired with a monochrome colouring, just fit the theming of the game a lot better. I will get back to Itria though in a bit. So next up, it was Carpentry. This was a little more complex than the last one. I found myself getting quite into the drawing process for this, and got a decent result. I then just went through and drew the rest. So I was back to the Itria Dilemma. I decided I liked the overall design, just the colours were a bit too bright and neither of them appear anywhere else in the game, so it didn't exactly fit the palette. I converted the logo to a plain white colour along with the others and got them into the game, recolouring them orange to match the interface. I'm really happy with this, and the companies are randomised each time a new contract is generated, so you won't always be seeing the same companies. I'd like to add a few more before the game is released, but this gives a good idea of how it's all gonna work. So, that was what I managed that week before I got out of the city for the weekend to get some fresh air in the Peak District with my family. It just so happened to be the day the entire north of England flooded, but luckily we retreated to this ridiculous waterfall situation at a dam nearby. It was practically the Niagara Falls of Derbyshire. We also went to a pretty awesome palace, which was all done up maybe a little too early for Christmas, but was certainly atmospheric. So I got back on Monday, and among other work for university, including my cybersecurity game I made my last video on, I got back to work on Lumbermill. One of my friends asked to play the game and very quickly discovered a bug, just by playing in an entirely different way to how I would. It turned out you could hire employees without having a house available for them, which meant they wouldn't appear in the world. I fixed that by adding a check to see if there are houses available, and if not, the button to hire the employee is made unclickable. Here you can see that working. Next, I added the ability to set a lumberjack to a particular storage building. This is going to be super useful and just means rather than going to the nearest building, lumberjacks will always deposit to the same storage building. After adding the button to the Lumberjack control panel, I added a field to the Lumberjack class which allows selection of a storage building. Here you can see when I select the storage building, the Lumberjack will then go to the nearest one, even though there is another building closer. It's simple, but I procrastinated adding that for so long, and I finally got that marked as done on Trello. Speaking of Trello, you'll notice that it is an absolute abomination. Millions of cards, which makes it super hard to be decisive about what to add next. There, looks a little more approachable, I guess? Right, so the last task of the last few weeks was to add bridges to the game. These wooden bridges will allow workers to cross rivers, which will be an important feature when you start running out of space, or buy a land patch with a river running through it. Stone bridges will allow conveyor belts and rails to cross rivers too. With the drawing done, I created a bridge object in Unity and got it added to the build menu. I also made it so that you can only build bridges on tiles containing a river and nowhere else, as that wouldn't make sense. The finishing touch to that was to add a bit of code to angle the bridge so it's always across the river. This was the finished result. Bridges always cross rivers and can't be built on land or on river corners. Here you can see the Lumberjack will cross the river at the bridge in order to cut down the selected trees. The game is available for wishlisting on Steam, so if you haven't already and you want the game when it comes out, just click the link in the description. That's all for this week. Subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, including my cybersecurity series I recently started. Cheers for watching.